Welcome to all who have traveled from far and near to celebrate the life of Jack Greene. Indeed, we come not to bury our Caesar, but to honor a life lived my way, as the other Old Blue Eyes sang. I'd like to acknowledge all who cared for Dad so devotedly and even heroically through his decline. My brothers and sisters who tag teamed support for him from across the country. It really does help to have a dozen or so kids. The extraordinary Red and Angie, who reverse adopted Dad and are now family. The hospice and home care attendants, and of course the tireless Virginia, our mom, whose steadfast determination realized their wish that Jack live at home until the end. He was a lucky guy to be so honored by this circle of love and devotion, and boy did he enjoy the attention, as his inner child became more and more present over time. I'd like to offer some reminiscences from the perspective of one who knew him when he was still a man in full, the dashing young Marine officer, athlete, bon vivant, justice crusader, hero, to a boy who learned lessons that have shaped my life. First, courage. To have the will to stand up to the terrors of the unknown, to treat failure and triumph equally as impostors that they are, but to dare to enter the arena and do my best, come what may. Second, faith. To believe that we are vessels of divine grace with the strength and resilience to meet life's challenges, and to trust that my life's work could manifest divine intention through inspired acts. To listen to the quiet voice that says, yes, try it, when entering uncharted waters, and to take on the responsibility to leave the world a better place than we found it. Third, integrity. To live a life informed by principles and purpose, to seek the greater good, and to always act in a way that honors our family and maintains our good name. Proof of this is in the faces of all you gathered here today. To honor this good man, this friend, this father, brother, husband, the master in the game of life. All of these lessons would be empty, however, without the greatest lesson of all, that of love. Jack was not one to hug and say, I love you, unless you were Gini. Greenes were not really all that huggy, kissy, sherry anyway. He showed love, didn't speak it. He was the dad of all dads, coming home after work, always at 5:30, to be greeted with a tsunami of rugrat yard monkeys, all clamoring to tackle him, to climb all over him, only to be appeased by a half stick of peppermint gum each, then to be silenced by the dramatic embrace and Hollywood kiss of Jack and Gini, to the chorus of ew and yuck. I knew Jack as a baby, as a boy, as a young man, as a father myself, and now as a memory. He was my rival for the attentions of beautiful young Virginia, Nia, as I called her, during the short time that I was an only child, as my role model for manhood, wearing his military gear, playing with the guns he'd bring home, his ceremonial sword, driving a tank, going to see soldiers play with flamethrowers and to blow things up, watching Marines salute him, living in the glow of an aura both attractive and repellent. The Jack that I knew was indeed a man of contradictions, both admirable and perverse, brilliant and baffling, glamorous and tacky, if you've seen his wardrobe, proud and humble, full of complexities. His experiences in Vietnam shook his worldview deeply, and his final years in the military were a time of questioning and struggling with deep conflicts of his principles and the reality of what he had witnessed. There are so many stories to tell about growing up Greene, seeing the look of wonderment on the faces of onlookers as our VW bus doors opened up and a seemingly endless stream of cookie-cutter kids poured out. The seat belts that were never used because if the car went off a bridge into a lake, we might not be able to unbuckle in time. This was while living in the desert in Barstow, of course. The excursions to the mud of Sandy Beach, and the necessity of making sure you were in the car before Dad drove off, Bob. But what stays with me, more than even all of the slogans, weird traditions, and even weirder sense of humor, is Jack's broadness of mind, his refusal to judge, his unconditional support and encouragement, his faith and trust that all would be fine, and his ability to hold and contemplate contradictions within his mind and within his life, with the serenity born of the Catholic faith of his youth, and energized by his readings of Zen Buddhism, put into action as the Monkey King, the trickster, the practical joker, delighting in mischief, the big cheese, Cadillac Jack, the Jack of our hearts, none like him. Thank you.